Here it comes, kids. Hold on to your hats.
Why don't we just start the show? Welcome to the Opie and Anthony program. The ONA virus spreading across America, and it has spread to Las Vegas, Nevada, Anthony.
That's where we are right now.
We're in the middle
broadcasting
of,
live.
Our
wait a
first
minute.
applause break, Anthony. Our first applause break.
What the heck? We got an audience today?
We have an audience of geeks. Look at these people.
Oh, be nice.
Hey, that guy acknowledged it. He raised his hand. That's right. I'm a geek.
I don't think there are a lot of people that wouldn't acknowledge the fact that you got to be a little geeky. I am. I know that. I was walking through the place going, wow, cool stuff. But now we have an audience that's sitting there. On a daily basis, we do the show just ourselves.
Yeah.
We sit there. We don't have an audience. There are some days we should have an audience to keep us from getting in trouble. But today we have there's quite a few people gawking.
They're gawking and taking pictures, and we're in the middle of CES. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely amazing.
Consumer Electronics Show for people that didn't know what CES was.
Well, I was trying to be savvy.
But it was some disease Norton got last night.
This is really creepy just getting looked at by these people.
Yeah, but you got your back turned to the crowd, so you'll
Yeah,
be
you don't
okay.
think he's doing that on purpose?
Yeah, well, this is the way I normally stand. I stand and I kind of look towards you too, and I don't want to look at people.
We have so much to cover, and we only have like a 2-hour show, so I got to tell you, just before he started to broadcast, I went into the hallway. There's one bathroom for about, 50 to 100,000 people. One men's room.
One.
I think so. One bathroom in this area. And I go to the men's room to take my, my leak that I have to do every freaking 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, there's a long line outside the men's room, and everyone's holding their noses. And the smell wafting from this bathroom, it was horrific. It was absolutely horrific. And I'm getting recognized by some of these geek guys. They're like, "Are you the famous Opie?" And we both have our noses, covered, so we don't smell what's going on in this bathroom.
Did you find out who it was?
It was one guy.
Just spot him?
It was just one guy. No, he was long gone, but his smell
His
he left
smell
behind.
lived on.
It was just one guy that was basically selfish and decided to have the wrong breakfast this morning and ruin it for everybody else.
Old cancer colon.
And Norton, you even acknowledged how bad the smell was.
Yeah, it was pretty foul. I kind of respected whoever it was. I'd love to be able to do that. Just discuss 50 strangers.
Well, perhaps, I don't know, if you're in Vegas, you probably stay up late, do a lot of drinking, probably not eating the right things.
Yeah.
I know last night for dinner, what did I have? I had sent up to the room a big fruit plate, nachos and salsa, and cheese and crackers, so it's just gurgling. So that was dinner.
I just want to acknowledge XM is putting us on here at their big convention, and we're not on the air for 3 minutes, and we're already talking about smells coming out of bathrooms.
And we talked
Kinda
to
awful.
We talked to upper management about the show. And we're like, look, we'll do a different type of show. Obviously,
Talked to upper management. We sat in a meeting yesterday where I swear to God, I was the crankiest individual yesterday. We'll get into our little travel thing, but believe me, by the time we were having this little meeting yesterday, I had it.
Yeah.
I was shot. And I just wanted to get the hell out and go back to the room and go to sleep. And there we were, meetings about show content for this event. Perhaps you know how you guys usually are, and for like the free play week, we were PG-13. Well, tomorrow we should be PG.
PG leaning toward G.
And Elo was telling me how long he had toiled over some analogy to come up with to tell us this, and he thought the movie rating analogy would really work.
And so we start off with bathroom smells, but I couldn't help it. I mean, that was the last thing that happened just before we turned the mics on, so you got to go with it, right?
Of course you do.
We do have a nice surprise, though. Hugh Pinero's going to come on the show later with the wiffle ball bat. We have a girl from AVN coming over.
Yeah, the porn awards are going on at the same time out here, so we got to do this show.
And after the talking that he gave me before the show, I think I know who he wants to use the wiffle ball bat on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we'll go into any details here, but let's just say it didn't take us long to get into some real deep trouble.
Yeah.
Here at the convention.
Problems already.
Problems already.
Can't be trusted. More meetings.
Dude, there's nothing but geeks here. Nothing but guys.
That's what this is
Nothing
all
but
about.
guys and really hot models that none of these guys are going to get.
They're the hot chicks that stand by all the cars because we're in a section where there are just automobiles all over the place, and they're all decked out. They got the speaker systems. I've never seen so much video in vehicles. That seems to be the thing now because every vehicle that's out here on display. I'm not just talking one little monitor like you would have. I know my vehicle, Opie, that I purchased, I actually have a DVD system in it, where if somebody's traveling with me in the back seat, they could pull down the screen and watch. But it's not nothing really special anymore. A lot of people have this in newer vehicles. But now the whole thing is how many TV sets can we cram into a vehicle?
Did you see the Hummer?
Of course I did.
The Hummer had, what did the guy say, 11 or 12 screens?
It's like 12. Steve is going around just writing down all the info, videotaping everything.
Yeah, where's
He loves
Steve?
it.
We might need him.
I
for this.
believe it was 15 screens.
By the way, the name of this convention should be Cars That White People Can Never Drive. Everything in this building should be driven by a pimp or a Puerto
A
Rican.
lot of ghetto rigs out there. The Hummer also has on the side these bazooka speakers.
I saw that.
are made up to look like rockets on rocket launchers.
Yeah.
It's like something you would never drive on the street.
Steve is pretty much creaming in his pants. He
Steve loves this
He
stuff.
can't get enough of the latest technology out there and the latest cars and
He's pointing
gadgets
at cars
and-
that have flame paint on
Everything.
it and goes,
I
ooh, look
love
at the
it.
paint job. We're like, yeah, it looks like your shirt, idiot.
Well, yeah, it does. But you know what? It's great. The Hummer had 11 screens total. You could watch 3 movies simultaneously in it.
Now, 3 movies. Are you talking the person driving could do this, or passengers, everybody?
I don't think these are designed for driver safety.
I've seen video screens in the inside of the door panel.
The
where
lower-
I
the lower
figured-
door panel.
It's like what would you do with this?
That's for the chick who's giving you a Hummer so she can watch television.
Yeah, it had the whole.
That's handy. Now that you've mentioned it, okay.
Yeah, television screens mounted on the lower door panel on the inside. 3 DVD players, so you could watch 3 different movies.
3 DVD players.
And these aren't small headrests. Well, they did have the small headrest screens, but it also had those pull-down flat panel ones
Right, from the roof.
from the roof. And he had, I think there were 3 of those.
And then there's
Yeah.
on every single headrest on
Yes.
the back of them. There's video screens.
And the entire back is one big amplifier and several large speakers.
And even in the area where you would just put your luggage, there's a bunch of screens back there.
Your
back there
luggage.
for the 5 or 6 year old you might have that you shove
Yeah.
way in the back. I don't know.
And where there weren't screens, there were audio units, big
Yeah.
amplifiers, huge bass. I mean, things that just shake the lug nuts right off
Right.
the tires. And it seems every company tries to outdo the other one by coming out with a bigger, more outrageous, more video-filled vehicle.
Hey, did you guys see that one truck out there? It had that monstrous system in the back,
Yeah.
and the back wheels were actually way down. And I'm like, what is that? And they said, that's the Sirius portable unit.
Oh wow, there you go. We've started in already.
Making more friends.
But basically, this is just a bunch of people just
Yeah.
pulling out their dicks, saying, "Look, mine's bigger than yours. Or
Right,
mine's
it is.
nicer than yours."
The
That's all this
pissing
whole thing
contest.
is about. Yeah.
And we're just in like
I didn't
the,
even know that the general public isn't even allowed in here. It's just all the vendors.
Today?
what, today or
Why-
yesterday.
The same with the porn. I'm saying at the Porn Expo, it's only vendors today. And I don't know if it's the same here, if the public can come in, or if it's just buyers and stuff like that. I don't know.
I think the public's allowed in today.
I
Maybe
heard
yesterday.
no.
Who the hell knows?
Whatever, yeah. But it's basically no. See, Ziggy's saying no way.
No.
This is just all vendors
Oh, okay.
and people that work for all the companies, and then you got the guys that are writing the reviews
And the press, right?
and the press. Yeah, we got a camera on us right now. Matter of fact, so it's just amazing.
And this is just pretty much like the car audio stuff. So you get a bunch of automobiles, and then there's a whole nother section of
home
household
theater.
stuff.
You
and
gotta
home
see the home theater.
I can't make it across there. It's like 20 miles away.
I'm trying
This
to figure
place is
out.
Huge.
I'm trying to figure out how to get a 65-inch LCD back to New York.
No.
Like instead of just buying it in New York, I'm like, no, I want to buy it now.
Why
and
don't we
somehow
do?
figure
You know
out
we
how
could
to get it back to New York?
I know how we could transport it. We'll get us a bus, and we'll all broadcast on the way back. Because that'll be a great. Wouldn't that have been a great idea to do this time? Remember, they wanted to get us a bus instead of the planes to drive to this. Take a week to drive and broadcast from various locations. We would have been the Donner Party, eating each other in the snowstorms that have been going on in the Midwest.
You mean they ate each other up?
I saw it on the TV.
I got to admit that your buddies are all becoming pussies. By the way,
What do you- what-
we're in a great, a really nice hotel. and a lot of action. I mean, you know, a lot of people have been in Vegas. They know the deal. It's just around the clock entertainment. And well, I went to bed at 8:45 last night. Anthony,
8:30.
8:30.
8:30. I'm a big wimp.
And of course, you and I are the responsible ones on the radio show. So now we'll go to Jim Norton. Jim Norton, what time did you go to bed?
1:30. I got bags under my eyes like a heroin addict because I had a friend. I actually have a lady friend in Vegas who came over, and we spent some time together, and it was nice. And I'm $300 lighter, so it was a lovely, humiliating.
No,
evening.
I was asking him about his evening exploits yesterday.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you're going to get any entertainment or companionship while you're here? And he's like, oh yeah, I know a girl. I know. Like it's not even like he's a normal human being that goes to Vegas and decides, I'm going to call up a service or something. He knows people already that probably he had called in New York and told them when he was going to be here.
You know how happy the prostitutes are when I show up? They like greet me at the airport like I'm JFK at Love Field. They're all standing there applauding behind a line. Oh, good. Here comes rent for the next 4 months.
Speaking of which, so we went to bed really early. So I woke up for the first time at like 3:15 in the morning, and I'm ready to go. I'm like, I've had my 7-hour sleep. I'm ready to go. So I crashed for another hour and a half. I got up at 5 and went down to the lobby of our hotel.
Yes.
Dude, I was laughing so hard. And, you know, I'll say it 100 times until I'm blue in the face, and maybe people will never believe me, but the whole prostitute thing I don't really get, and I'm just not into that game. I'm just not. But I'm into checking it out. I'm a people-watching fool. I'll watch people all day long. So I go down the lobby. I get my Starbucks. There's like 3 Starbucks just in the lobby alone.
Yeah, all packed.
And I'm reading the New York papers, and there are ladies of the evening all over the lobby. Like, dude, like 100.
So if you were into it, you could just go right down to the lobby at 5 in the morning and.
Well, the game is hilarious though, because that's that transitional hour where people are sort of getting up now because they have to be at the CES or what have you, because a lot of conventions going on, and then you got all the people that are finally going to bed. So it's a very transitional period, and they have cops in the lobby just chasing hookers from one corner of the casino to the next, and there'll be like 2 or 3 that are just bored, just kind of chit-chatting. The cops go over there and they disperse, and then there's a whole nother section that pops up over here. And
there's no doing away with them.
Honestly, are they the hotel security or actual cops? I don't know, but they can't control the situation. They're just spending their whole morning trying to get the prostitutes out of the joint.
I guess they just want to keep them moving.
Keep them moving, right?
Keep them moving from one area.
Because when the place is packed.
Any guys proposition?
Oh, it's hilarious. There was a guy at the bar. He was just in mullet hell. This guy, he really has to look at himself in the mirror. He's in mullet hell, and there was this black lady next to him, and you just know the scene. But the guy's like, I don't know what. I don't know if he's getting it. I don't know if he's thinking he's getting lucky or what. And all of a sudden, the bartender looks at the black lady and goes, "Another Budweiser." She goes, "Yeah, I guess." She's all pissed that it's taking so long.
The guy wasn't latching on too quickly.
Yeah.
I had one hooker tell me, I was at Bally's or something years ago, and you have to be careful what you say because you don't want to get arrested.
Right.
So I'm like, well, how much for this? And she goes, well, it'll be $200 for peanut butter and jelly. And I'm like, what? And she's like, peanut butter and jelly. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. And she left. I realized later that meant half and half. I thought about it later. Half
and half.
Half peanut butter, half jelly. Yeah, but I didn't get that hooker lingo.
I'm trying to figure it out still.
Yeah, that's what it meant.
We could go to the phones a little bit, but we can answer some of the phone calls. And when we answer their question, Eric is back in New York because he wasn't good enough to come to Vegas with us. Low man on the totem pole is back in New York.
He's not even good enough to go to D.C.
I know.
Do you think this will work? I'm amazed to see if this works.
You want to actually just take the phone
Let's see if we can take a call.
All right, let's go to CJ in Florida. CJ, what's up?
What's up, boys? Hello, Rose.
Ooh. Jaime, you rock. Jaime put this whole thing together, and it's just an amazing setup here in Vegas. Go ahead, CJ.
No, how's everything? I wanted to know, the other day you were complaining that you had like 17 different flights all years. Were you like paging each other at the airport?
Yeah, I gave Opie a couple of phone calls from my delayed flight. He called from his delayed flight.
Yeah, we barely made it here, actually. Cleveland is just awful. And
you want stopovers in the Midwest during the winter, is what you want.
Yeah.
Because it really, what are the odds that your flight's going to be delayed because the airport's snowed in?
We just made it into Cleveland. Actually, Norton is a pal. He bumped me up to first class. Because he's like...
Yeah, for half the trip. I'd
Only
rather
from New
just
York to
stay in
Cleveland.
coach. I'd rather just stay in coach.
I'm a coach guy. I really am. I mean, if someone's going to give me first class, that's great. Trust me. And I get bumped up for the trip from New York to Cleveland. I just slept the whole time because we had like a 4 a.m. pickup or something. And then, before we even took off from New York, I was just out cold on my back in the middle of the terminal.
Yeah, sleeping on the floor like a homeless person.
Oh, I didn't even care.
Perfect for a good teabagging.
I was so tired, and then I got bumped up to first class for the trip from New York to Cleveland. I slept the whole way, and so I didn't even get to enjoy anything. I think I had a little orange juice.
Well, we were having equipment problems on a plane.
That's always fun.
At LaGuardia, but they were going to get us a new plane. That's why I like Continental, because they was, all right, we'll get you a new plane. And we made it literally with about 7 minutes to spare. And we would have been stuck in Cleveland for 9 hours.
How long does that take to get a new plane?
I would have taken a half hour. Not bad.
Oh.
If you had a whole new aircraft, that's not bad.
And then what makes them decide that they are going to get a new plane and then all of a sudden you don't need one? Doesn't that make you a little shaky?
It horrifies me, but I think
that doesn't seem like a problem. All right, we need to get an entire new aircraft for you. Oh, wait a minute. No, this one's still okay.
Why does the pilot have a rabbit's foot on the mirror?
Yeah, it was.
That seems a little scary.
Yeah, it was all right.
You never want to hear that because they don't tell you what the problem is. If it was like, well, there's a couple little light bulbs that, it's regulations. We have to make sure.
Did he tell you that?
No, that's what I'm wondering. Was
Yeah.
it something really minor like, I was going to say windshield wiper, what an ass. Something really stupid, but the FAA is like, no, everything has to be working.
Yeah.
Or was it like engine problems?
Or it's like, yeah, we have no engine, and then all of a sudden, it started.
Yeah, so if they're going to tell you engine, if they're going to tell you, some kind of problem with the plane, I think they should tell you.
We had a flat front tire once when I was flying on the plane at the gate, and they changed the tire with us in it, and I swear, we were all sitting there, and you felt the whole plane go chuk-junk with the big plane jack, like you were in an old Buick on the side of the expressway, and all of us are looking at each other like, I can't believe they're jacking up the plane.
That's amazing.
To replace this tire.
Then you see two black guys running around with the tire, and you look out, and it's on a cinder block.
and then from Cleveland to Vegas, I had the strangest seat I've ever had on a flight.
Next to Jimmy.
Well, no, he was in first class, living large.
Oh, this is the rest of your flight without first class?
Oh, yeah. And Jimmy, after we get off the plane, he's just rubbing it in because we had like Special K and a rotten banana for breakfast.
I wasn't rubbing it in.
Yeah, tell Anthony what you were doing.
It was normally after a fruit plate. When I have my breakfast, I like my cinnamon roll to be hot, and this one was only lukewarm, and it was very upsetting.
Awful first
And I
class.
had Special K, bad coffee, and a half of a rotten banana. And then he's like, "Did you guys get to smell the fresh baked cookies they were cooking for us in first class?"
They make cookies, and the guy next to me, who I actually drank his soda by accident, he hated me, and I wanted his cookie because I'm such a fatso. And they bring me my cookie, and he's like, "I'm not having mine." I'm like, "Well, could I have it?" and he's like, "What? I didn't hear you." I'm like, nothing. I just couldn't bring myself to ask him again for his cookie. Another grown man.
Then he doesn't understand why he's gaining weight. We're having this really nice steak dinner last night, and he's ordering properly, nice steaks and vegetables, no big deal. It's the dessert.
Yeah, I've seen him eat entire bowls of ice cream.
And he gives us all speeches like, "I don't understand why I'm not losing weight." So now we're involved with his dieting.
Yeah.
And we have to point out, well, maybe it's that huge freaking boat of ice cream that you end your meal with.
I really am starting to look like LaMotta when he did stand up. And I actually got a little log of ice cream. It was actually like a little oval thing of ice cream. I only ate half of it.
Oh,
so
that'll
that
do a
was
lot
me
of good.
being responsible.
So getting back to my seat on the plane, I'm in the. You did not just get Steve, did you?
Oh yeah, I did got him well. Half his shirt went out. He turned around so fast.
I'm at the emergency exit, okay?
Yeah.
Which is usually a great place to be because
Well, a lot of people say that's the best seat. You get the most foot room.
you get the most foot room, where you can stretch completely out. The problem was my right leg I could completely stretch out, no problem. Left leg I had to tuck toward my chest because they had the inflatable slide or the raft. What? Attached to the whatever it was. Maybe someone could help me out.
Attached to the
It was the
door?
emergency exit, but it popped into the plane.
Yeah.
And then there was the seat that was.
That's an awful seat.
It was probably the worst seat on the plane. And then what didn't make it any better, and I'm looking around to see if he's here. Super fan. It took 2 seconds. Super fan.
Oh, someone
Dude, I used to listen to you guys when you were on Extreme in Cleveland. Holy crap.
sitting right next to
Right
you.
next. Right next.
Aw,
It got to the point I took my bubble coat and I placed it on my head and fell asleep. And then I was actually watching my Honeymooners DVDs on my little portable DVD player under my coat. Just because because the guy would not stop. All the same questions we get over and over again, which is fine. Remember that bit you did? That's fine for 30 seconds
awesome.
or a minute or maybe 5 minutes, but for a 4-hour flight, I would have went nuts.
A little much.
But you were playing a game in the airport too, right?
Yeah, you kind of get tired, a little bored, and well, Jimmy knows this. First class boards first. You're not standing in that long line. They call that the plane is boarding, and who goes first? First class.
The better people.
Right, the better people. You don't want to sit there in steerage, what do they call it, the bilge? You get the nice cushy seat, they sit you down, they take your coat,
Yep.
They ask you if you like a beverage, which I answered, yes, please, I'll have an absolute Bloody Mary.
There you go. I had a
your
tomato
morning
juice.
flight. It's wonderful. And then as you sit, and you're comfy resting in your seat, then they bring the riffraff by.
It's awful.
And they have to walk through your section, because that's where the door is, to their lovely 1 foot wide seat.
Yes, to the ride from the Amistad in the back of the. And they should make a rule: no eye contact. Stop peeping at me on the way through.
Don't look.
Shut up, you
Look
asshole.
down.
Don't look at my icy beverage in my hand.
I was so far back in the plane, I thought I was going to have to row. Because there was 3 sections. There was the really nice first class, then there was business class, I guess. I don't know.
There's
I
no
don't fly
business
enough.
class on Continental. They have what they do is because first class is harder to sell, so they took half of first class and they actually just extended coach into
right.
it. So the more of you can fit there,
Ugh.
and there's less of us.
Well, I was a rower from Cleveland to
Yeah,
Vegas.
you were in the back,
Yeah, and you guys were sipping
pedaling,
toddies.
keeping the rubber bands wound.
So
Nice.
Anyway, the people are filing by you.
Yeah, they file by. So me and my girl were playing a game called Gambling, Gadgets, or Gash. Because it's Vegas, so obviously there are people that just come here to gamble. They weren't coming here for any conventions; they're just here to gamble. And then the gadgets, we're here at the CES. A lot of people were coming here for the CES. So you could kind of point out the geeks that are here for the gadgets. And Gash is just, the porn awards. That's
why I'm here.
The AVN is here at the same time. So we were trying to figure out, just by looking at the faces and the bodies of these people walking down the aisle, what they were here for. And it's good because with the name Gambling, Gadgets, or Gash, they had no idea what we were talking about. You could just say it real loud. You look right at a guy and go, gadget, 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 right in their faces. Gadget, gambling, gash. And you get a lot of gambling and gadgets, and that could be interchangeable sometimes. The real geeky guys, you could tell, is just gadget, guy with a pocket protector in his glasses and a big silver briefcase with some gadget in it. And then the gambling guys, usually, middle-aged guys. They look like any guy from the poker tour that you'd watch on TV.
Yeah.
The baseball cap and stuff, But when the gash guys would come around the corner of the door and start walking down the aisle, they got the boy band slim beard thing going.
Oh, the Steve beard.
The Steve beard, the big sideburns. They're dressed in some form of leather. Just Ben-sized mules through the pants. Hairy chest sticking out. You just know that they're porn guys. And they're usually followed by a couple of girls with them. So it was a fun little game to play while you're sitting, waiting for your plane to back out.
You actually should have played on our flight because Ben was there. It would have been gambling, gadgets, gash, or gossip.
Oh my God!
We're gossiping Ben. There he is.
Well, the Steve Wynn Hotel is, going to be the next big thing here in Vegas. We saw it on the way over to CES. This
I
thing,
know more inside stuff about it than I ever thought I'd know.
this thing is massive,
Yeah.
and we're at dinner last night, and Ben's filling me in on all the announcements they're going to be making in the next few months. It's like, oh, no one knows yet, but I do.
Ben knows.
Can we give the rumors?
No.
Don't
No rumors?
No, you can't give those. That's big stuff.
But it was.
We'll talk about it next week.
But it's information we're getting from Ben.
Yeah,
We
it's
can't.
real,
How could
though.
this be privileged?
According to Ben, they're going to have crabs and hepatitis in every room.
We can't talk about the Eagles?
Oh, look at Ben.
Talk
Now,
about Led Zeppelin. Yeah,
do you know he's not gonna?
I'm
He's
not- I
not
don't
gonna
even-
get this
don't know what
privileged
you're talking about.
information
Yeah.
if you start letting people
But you know what?
onto it.
What's going to happen is...
How did you find out, Ben,
Ben?
about this exclusive
How
deal?
did he find out? He's connected, man.
I had a tour of the facility last year.
How did he get a tour of the facility?
Dude, we didn't even leave LaGuardia Airport before he ran into people in.
Were they just trying to make sure the building was earthquake-proof? So when he herkies and jerkies, they could make sure the building won't topple?
We didn't even leave New York before people came up to him like, Ben, I can't believe you're here. What's going on? He knows people everywhere he goes. So.
He really does. He knows something about every little place. We're driving through Queens to get to LaGuardia, which just stinks as an airport. And he's pointing like, oh, yeah, dude, this is where they do that. It's like every little awful neighborhood he knows something about.
So.
Although I guess when you're scoring coke all over the place. There's a guy in here whose scale is rusty.
All right, you know what? We got to take a break.
No.
Hey, we're a quarter done already. I like this gig.
Oh, that's fantastic.
2-hour radio shows. I think this is what we need to do when we get back to New York.
Please.
We're 25% done already. It's Opie and Anthony. We're broadcasting live from Vegas at the CES. On the way, Ted Nugent, huh?
Really?
Also, Lee Abrams is going to come by for some of his wisdom. And there's a couple other things I forgot. Oh, because our instant feedback just crapped out.
Oh, are you going to speak to Elo at all today?
Ooh, possibly. We could talk to Elo, yeah.
I like how he calls Kevin Straley Strelo.
Strelo.
When he called him Strelo in the vehicle, I wanted to open the door and tell the guy to make a sharp left. Strelo. All
right,
I thought he was joking.
No, I was hoping he was joking.
Why don't we take a quick break and we'll continue from Vegas, all right?
Yeah.
It's the Opie and Anthony Show. Live from Las Vegas. And we do apologize for that.
Stuck in their hotel rooms because they're all pooping green from alcohol poisoning.
That is the sexiest thing I have ever seen.
That is good. I like that.
Opie and Anthony Show. Thank you. Nice to be in Vegas. Hotel.
Are you breathing? Are you breathing? Now, wake up, are you alive? Will you listen to me? I'm gonna talk about some freakies. Now, someone is gonna die. Will you listen to me? Let the living die, let the living die. Say, wake up, are you alive? Will you listen to me? I'm gonna talk about some freakies. Now, someone is gonna die. Will you listen to me? Let the living die, let the living die. Say, are you breathing?
Program, the One virus has spread to Las Vegas. We're in the middle of CES, Anthony. Now we got a film crew on stage filming us. We got a lot of geeks checking us out with their digital cameras, taking pictures. I don't know. Oh, you don't want to call them geeks to their faces?
No, I feel they are my brethren.
You want to play?
I'm a real tech head. I love this stuff. And, they're just enjoying themselves with the technology. Doesn't mean you're a geek. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these people probably play EverQuest and EverQuest 2 and other video games that they're embarrassed to tell their friends, but it's just part of who you are.
You can relate to the geeks, right?
Be proud.
Be proud to be a geek.
Be proud to be a geek.
All right.
Although I do want to get away from the whole geek thing and gamble tonight. I feel like I wasted a night being so tired and miserable yesterday after getting it. You know, you get into Vegas, you want to have some fun. It's Vegas. You don't want to go back to your room and, I'm tired and go to sleep. But,
which we did last night.
We did. You know something?
But we had to out of necessity. We were exhausted from...
I don't know why. It turns out that Opie and Anthony are the sanest people involved in the Opie and Anthony show these days.
How did that happen?
Remember when we used to be the idiots and lunatics?
And people were begging us to keep it under control.
Keep it under control. You guys better, you got a show to do. Go after this. I don't care. This, that. And now it's like,
it's bedtime. I better set my alarm so I get up. I'm going to set the clock faster so I think I'm getting up late, but it's real.
And then there we are. We don't do that stuff.
You want to play football in my room later, by the way? I mean, we bitch and complain about XM, and, the fact is we love being at XM Satellite Radio. We do, but we're just very passionate about what we do, and we want to be on top of the radio world again, and we're making the greatest comeback in radio history. You'll see. They hooked us up huge.
I don't know.
I think I have Hugh Pinero's suite.
You think you got his room by accident?
By accident. I'm convinced of it now.
Dude,
I have a guest room.
I know.
I have a guest room, a living room, a dining room. I have a bar area, and 2 different bathrooms.
This hotel we're in has a lot of the hotels out here in Vegas have wings. They're just long offshoots from a central hub. It's a huge wing. Our rooms are as wide as the entire wing that sticks out from the side of the building. It's one whole side of the building. It's huge. I did too. I saw one bedroom, and I'm like, wow, this is huge. It's got a big living area with a bar, huge windows overlooking Vegas, and then I walk to the other end of it. I go, what's in this room? It's another bedroom. It's got a jacuzzi in there.
Yeah.
You got your hot tub,
yeah.
jacuzzi and everything?
And, and where I come from, my roots and stuff, I'm telling you, I am so uncomfortable. That's why I will fly coach. Someone's asking, that's what I wanted to go to the phones before. He's like, oh, you cheap F, why are you flying, why don't you step up and get first class? We didn't pay for our flights.
No.
I chose to fly with Ben, Steve, and everybody else. That's all. Go ahead.
No, the first class ticket I got was cheaper than the coach ticket they had actually hooked me up with.
I'm not going to grovel to try to sound like a regular guy. I love first class. I hate flying coach. And that's just the way things are.
Yeah, you're right. We really are phonies.
I'm going to see little Jimmy sitting next to somebody in coach and having a good time. I like being a regular guy. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go out of the CES tonight and just hail a cab like a regular guy.
What kind of an ass would hail a taxi with that? I like our
CEO of
suite so
another
much.
company. Ugh.
I actually dropped a log in one toilet, walked across, and flushed the other one.
Now that's living. High on the hog.
But you walk down the hall that has to be 100 yards long, right?
My God, you get exhausted.
And I'm looking at my room, my room thing, and I'm counting like, okay, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, oh, I'm at the end of the hall, just thinking I got just a regular nice room in the MGM. And all of a sudden I see at the end of the hall
the big double doors.
big double doors. Like I'm entering a mansion.
I know, it's nice.
And I start having like a panic attack.
Like
I'm
a high roller.
And I'm with nobody, but I just know where I come from. I'm like, no way. And I start figuring out the math, and I'm like, holy crap, look what they did for us.
I know, I like it.
It's great. I love that walking down the hall. It's like the Overlook Hotel. It's like that really, really long hallway shot. I love being in those big double doors at the end.
Double doors, swing them open, you get the marble tile. Of course, it's Vegas, so every room's got to be gaudy.
Yeah.
The gold couches and all that iron work.
Dude, I honest to God opened every single curtain. The view is amazing. And when this young lady came over last night, she's like, "Oh, are you sharing this with friends?" And I'm like proudly like, "No, it's all me." And as we're sleeping together, I was telling her, I swear to God, I was saying, "Oh, I want to marry you and give you half of everything I have." I swear to God, I said that to her. It was just, I wanted to be used by this person.
Hey, we're getting some calls from people. They want to know what the announcements were here at CES as far as XM goes. Is Elo around? If someone can find Elo? Yeah, because I'm going to do a horrible job with explaining this stuff because I'm not a tech head, but wow, I know this stuff is, well, what's wrong?
I want to know why Eric Logan is wearing like a Christmas gift wrapping around his neck.
That's a tie.
Dude, why you gotta get my tie?
I know.
Here he is,
Here we
everyone.
go.
Elo live.
What's up?
In person. Usually we have him on the phone, and it's a lot easier
To hang up on me?
to hang up on him, trash him.
That's right. Opie's. Yeah, I want to tell you, Eric. I have no control over the phones.
You don't have any control over the phones?
As far as who we hang up on, any calls we take.
Yep.
It's open.
Oh, it's going to get interesting now. Ted Nugent has entered the building, everybody.
There he is. Does this mean I'm off? Here, so are you going to hang up on me now because Ted Nugent's here?
No, we'll get to him in like...
You sure? You want to do it?
Ted, we'll get to you in like 2 minutes, all right?
I love it. Ted just walks.
I'm just doing security.
He's one of our favorite guests of all time. We've been talking to Ted Nugent for years. I personally don't agree with everything he says, but he's just entertaining.
Eric calls him Nugelo.
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 Or Tilo.
Tilo. Tidlo.
Tidlo.
So a lot of the listeners want to know what we announced here at CES.
Right.
And I know the two portable things you were showing us yesterday are amazing, but I would do a horrible job trying to explain them.
The XM to Go, just to show you how great that thing is. I mean, they sold 100,000 already of XM to Go. 2 new manufacturers, one called Tao. It's a great piece. It's very hot looking. If you go to the XM Radio's website, xmradio.com, on the front page is a picture of all the 3. So it's hot looking. It's black. And then we got a new deal with Pioneer that rolls out to their XM to Go product, which is very sleek, looks very state of the art and very cool. So there's 3 different styles by 3 different manufacturers to kind of fit your personality or whatever it is.
Yeah, it seems like the Pioneer would be more for someone that's kind of conservative, a little older.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a cell phone almost, like a
yeah, like
cell
a
phone.
Trio or something. Very,
Yeah.
it's very simple.
And the
it's-
towel's kind of black, very rounded, and it's got backlit kind of red numbers, so that's hot looking. And then the MiFi, the Delphi makes is a great looking device as well. So, but the functionalities of the devices are all the same.
And you can listen live to stuff on those.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can actually you can turn it on right here, and I was like walking through the MGM Grand, with it, and you could totally hear it everywhere you go. So,
Dude, I got it on the plane. I had my MiFi in the plane on the way here.
Yeah.
And I was listening live.
I tell people that all the time. If you're on the side of the plane that's facing to the south, and you kind of just turn it on and set it by the window, you can actually hear it because the birds are stationary at the equator. So.
Yeah, that's what I was listening
it's
to.
hot.
All the way here. Pretty
It's
cool.
great.
Didn't have
great.
to listen to that lousy classical music that the airplane played.
That's horrible.
I got to say that I don't want to say any other satellite company's name, but the competition is fierce now because they also have a portable unit, but you can't listen live. You can download onto it and listen at your leisure. So I want to congratulate Sirius on reinventing the tape recorder. I understand, and I don't want to blow up anybody's spot, but next year they have a new device coming out where you pick it up, and if somebody on the other end has the same device, you can dial buttons and talk to them.
Looking forward to that.
That's going to be a huge innovation.
Oh, they really are creeps.
Yeah.
What were the other announcements?
The other big announcement was we're handing out little things that basically say.
Check this out.
This is the Connect and Play chip. Basically, this is a chip that's about the size of your pinky fingernail.
Yeah.
That radio manufacturers will start installing in just every sort of device, whether or not they're little antennas of cell phones or they're devices and radios or whatever they may be. And this little chip actually is the brains of XM satellite radio, and that is the entire brains of it.
It's like one of Ben's phones.
I thought you were going to say something else about Ben.
It's the size of a tooth.
It is. It is tiny. So what happens with this? Instead of somebody having to go out and buy, a $80 to $90 radio, their standard radio they buy for $30, $40, $50, whatever it may be. All they'll need, cause it'll say XM ready, is what it will say. Then they'll buy a antenna that'll retail for about $49, which is just like the antenna you have for your MiFi or the antenna that you have for your Sky-Fi or Sky-Fi 2. You just plug that into the box, and all of a sudden you've got an XM radio. So what it really does is take versus going out and buying a specific radio for XM, it opens the door for about 15 new manufacturers. They're going to start putting this in this year. So it really opens the door for more people to have a satellite radio for us. So.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's great. A lot of other things, our talent announcements. Did you guys talk about those?
No, not at all.
We announced that we've done a deal with Dr. Laura. Crazy Dr. Laura, we love her. She's going to be on starting in February. We did a deal with Tony Kornheiser, which the highest rated show on ESPN with PTI, and then our old friends from our previous life, G. Gordon Liddy, the G-Man. So
Liddy.
G-Man, yeah. So.
Liddy.
He's out of his mind.
He is literally insane.
I said when we did the deal, I said when he comes to the D.C. offices, you can rest assured the firearm quotient in the building has gone up at least by 2.
Yeah.
So we got that out of the way, and now we got to take you to task. Do you understand that Anthony and I are trying to be responsible broadcasters?
I get the sense that
we all
trying.
We all were hanging out, and we went back to the hotel, and he's like, "Hey, dude, you down for drinking heavy amounts of whiskey and gambling?" I know. And he's calling me at like 9:30, which honestly is not that late.
I got up at 3:30 in the morning Eastern time. By the time I went by the time I went to bed, it was like 8:30 time here. And then 10:30, like 11:30 then.
Right.
So I'd been up for quite some time. I got at least 4 phone calls from 4 different XM people going,
"Dude, man, you want to come out? We're gonna party, drink, and gamble. And I'll see you at the table, man. Come on."
We already have this awful reputation, and we're trying to be responsible. And it doesn't help when the big dog here is like,
trying
to
drag you out, drink whiskey, and play blackjack all night.
You're supposed to be the one that settles everybody down. It's like hanging out with Iggy Pop in 1978.
Well, it's part of my strategy. If I get you guys out and get you completely hammered that night, get you broke, you just kind of show up and mellow. I mean, that's a reverse control.
That might work.
That's a reverse control, right?
You do understand, though, if we came here and sucked, you'd have to be the guy to yell at us you were the one that
took it. Right.
Yeah, made us suck.
That's all right. That's sort of, I refer to that in management as convenient amnesia.
Ooh.
You like that?
It's good. A nice management term.
I wasn't there. Convenient amnesia. All right.
I plan on going out, though.
Tonight? Is tonight you're going to roll?
Now, because I was saying earlier, I felt bad that I came in here so tired because it's Vegas. You don't want to go back to your room and go to sleep when you're in Vegas.
No.
You want to get out there, have some fun, get at the tables. And last night, just couldn't do it. But tonight.
Yeah, and quite honestly,
We're
now
going.
that we know this is just a 2-hour cakewalk, that we could just kind of call in the show.
Call it in.
It's a whole.
So
it's a whole different ballgame.
Tonight's a whole different thing.
Oh yeah, right.
You might actually get the show, my part of it anyway, tomorrow from my cell phone, sitting at a table, because it's so easy. If you could take just going, hit or stick every so often between us vamping.
And he was telling me I think it was at breakfast this morning that D was playing War.
D was playing War? What?
Was it you or it might have been Kevin Straley?
Yeah.
I think it was Strelo.
Strelo.
Yeah.
Strelo.
You could
the sales guy.
You could gamble on the game War.
Yeah.
I didn't know that one.
War is a casino game.
Yeah.
Who figured that one out?
Yeah. Well, it's obviously paying for itself. So somebody's
They
stupid
all
enough.
do.
Somebody's stupid enough to play it. Yeah, that's unbelievable. But no, I mean, those were really the big announcements. There was a lot of other announcements. Hugh, our CEO, announced our new sub number. I don't know if you guys announced that at 3.275 million.
That's huge.
Which is just massive. I think the line of the press conference was, I think he said, and I'll kind of mess up the verbatim, but it was something that, this time at CES last year we reported that we had, a million persons lead over our competitor. This year we're happy to report we have over a 2 million persons lead, truly making us the real big dog. And so it was got a great laugh, and it was a really cool moment in the press conference yesterday. So
Can I say how irritating it is to walk around and when you're walking into CES and you see that giant blown up dog? I thought they were non-union workers. I'm like, what is that?
Where they blow the big rat.
Yeah, it just stinks.
yeah, it's great. No, it's really exciting. I mean, this is the time where you come out and you show off your gadgets, you show off what you have, you show off all the new stuff. And I mean, Opie and I were kind of walking around trying to find the cell phone area.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you want to get into. That's where
that technology changes like every week.
Yeah, so
I hate that. I buy a new phone and
Right.
you go around and someone else has a cooler phone than you.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Now you got to upgrade.
You got to upgrade. So.
They're
Yeah,
upgrading
the
their
thimble
displays
phone.
as we talk here. Oh
Yeah.
my God, we put this up yesterday. This is old stuff.
It's
now.
outdated, right? So, but
and
it's
then
cool.
the other thing, really fast before we move on, the pictures of your kid. What are you doing? What are you doing?
You gonna bring that up?
Which
one?
We're in the van on the way to the CES here, and he became a father, and that's great and all. And he's
7 weeks today, by the way.
And he's showing us all the pictures of his baby, and the baby's beautiful and all that. But there's a picture of how old was she in this picture?
That picture, she was 2 weeks old.
2 weeks old in a bikini.
It's a leopard bikini.
Yeah, leopard bikini. In a leopard bikini.
Well,
how do you?
The story behind the bikini. My wife and I were in Vegas, and we were pulled one of these all-night benders kind of thing. And we saw this, and we said, hey, in the event we ever have a child, we bought this bikini. It came in a little bag about the size of a Cracker Jack box. It was just really cute. So we bought it, and we had a little girl. And we decided that we were going to make the birth announcements a mock cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. So we put her in this leopard thing. And so the other thing you realize is when you take a 2-week-old diaper off, when the wind blows, it turns into like the home sprinkler system. So it's the outtakes are pretty funny. But I'll make sure I get you guys, and you can put up on the site if you want the birth announcement. So yeah,
But we're looking at these pictures, and we don't know if we should say, "Wow, what do you say?"
Yeah,
cute.
Like,
Nice body.
oh, that's cute, or call the authorities.
I don't know which way to go. From that one.
We actually on the blog that I put up a blog of our first bath, and then I put up a blog of the first bath, and it was obviously nude. So I actually was really worried about kiddie porn.
Yeah.
So I blacked out some of the important areas. 'Cause I
Which
didn't know
makes it look even worse.
Yeah, it's sort of
that
this guy
does.
really is a pedophile.
It's like, is this
my
your
daughter?
kid or somebody you snatched from a hospital in Phuket?
but happy birthday, Jackson Jane. She's 7 weeks today. So.
Oh,
very nice.
That's adorable.
Jackson Jane, that's a cute name.
Jackson
You
Jane.
can call her J-Lo.
J-Lo.
All right, Art. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'll let you get to Nugent. All right, see you around.
Oh, yeah.
The
Blackjack.
big boss,
Hey,
Elo.
Blackjack tonight.
Absolutely,
All
man.
right, this is what a live hang-up sounds like. Right.
There it goes. He just hung
Hi,
up on
Eric.
you, Opie.
All right, there he goes.
Eric.
I'm trying to go to the phones, but I've already lost the stylus.
You need a stylist to go to the phones?
Yeah, Jaime's got the.
Opie's the worst guy with a stylus. You had one for your trio. What happened to it, Opie? You lost it, didn't you?
Well, that's after I poked a hole in the screen because I had to keep just poking.
You're not the type of
Lee
guy.
Abrams, everyone.
Hey,
Oh,
what's happening?
I thought it was Ron Jeremy.
I get that. I mean, I get more drinks bought than just a convention.
Hey, that got a big laugh from the geeks out there, Lee.
Hey.
So what's going on?
Well, this thing is, unbelievable. big, and kicking off 2005 is going to be just ridiculous.
Did you fly here in your own plane?
No, I just got the new plane, but
You did?
Yeah, I got it December 20th. Flew it back on Christmas Eve.
What kind of plane is it?
It's a Cirrus SR-22 G2, and the number is on the side 101XM.
Oh!
And I'm working with the FAA to get you guys pictures on the side of the plane, so we can.
What kind of plane is
that'd
it?
be nice.
SR-22.
Oh, Cirrus.
Yeah, not the.
Oh, I think it's something else. That must be big and shitty.
Well, yeah, that's close, but the letters XM101 on the side are
Very
make up
nice.
for that.
Now, you know, people talk behind your back about how you fly and sometimes fall asleep, right? Is there any truth to this rumor?
No, absolutely
Because
not.
you've been inviting Anthony and I for a little ride, and I just want to make sure that there's no truth to that rumor.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the plane has a very sophisticated autopilot, so if it was true, it'd still be all right. But there's absolutely no truth to that.
How many
Okay.
passengers can you?
4.
4 passengers or 4
I
total?
know, me and 3
You
others,
and 3
yeah.
others.
In total luxury. Yeah,
Really?
the thing rocks. Chicago to Washington, 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Is that where you flew?
I flew from Duluth.
From Duluth?
Well, that's where the factory is. And
Very nice. Oh, brand new?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
What altitude?
17,000.
Absolutely not.
Oxygen, it's got.
Wow.
Yeah, it's-
You are the real deal.
And it
Instrument.
is.
Instrument qualified, right?
Oh, absolutely. Commercial instrument, everything. It has XM as standard equipment, both the radio and the weather. And there was, I woke up in Duluth, and there was all these, on Fox and CNN and everything. Crisis
Woke up
in the
in Duluth.
Midwest.
Was that behind the controls or?
No, that was before the controls.
Oh, okay.
But the
Maybe
weather was
rumor.
horrible. Yeah, really. Weather was horrible. The whole lead story was Cleveland, Cincinnati, everything just, snow emergencies. And, man, because that's right between Duluth and Washington.
Yeah.
But, with the XM satellite weather on board, just got over all that stuff. And
Oh.
It was unbelievable.
Zigging and zagging between the weather, were you?
Absolutely.
That is so cool.
Totally.
I don't know.
And it's really the XM of aircraft. It's a whole new design. They rethought everything, and of course XM standard equipment, and just the whole vibe of the thing is a lot like XM, just in terms of revolutionizing.
Now, the last time you were on the show, you were talking about the old days of radio.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Believe it or not, the listeners just ate it up.
Oh,
And you were
yeah.
kind of telling us there's like a part 2 to that story.
Oh, I can go for hours.
I mean, he was
on
a
this.
consultant for many, many years, and he's the one that was responsible for a lot of the things we now hate in radio. But at the time, it was cool.
Oh yeah,
New and cutting
Like,
edge.
what did you invent? Like 2 for Tuesday?
Oh
or-
yeah, 2 for Tuesday, block party weekends, all that crap. And at the time, it was very, wow, revolutionary, 2 in a row. And then the more adventurous stations would do like, 3 for Thursdays. And that was
We did a
30
foreplay.
years ago.
We did a foreplay
Oh,
weekend
yeah,
in Rochester, where the fourth cut is always live.
Hey,
Huh?
yeah. Well, we created all those cliches that we now have a buzzer at XM. If somebody comes up with one of those, they get buzzed and 3 buzzes and they're fired. But yeah, block party weekend, 2 for Tuesday, the best, the greatest, all that bragging.
Right. Best rock.
And the best rock. Please. I mean, at the time it was probably the best rock. But 30 years later, you can't fool listeners. You can't trick them.
Yeah.
And it was all about trickery back then and trying to fool the ratings. But the great thing about XM is it's the mandate to just blow up the playbook and start all over and build radio for now and not for 1974.
Love it.
But it was a lot of fun back then. But man, time for change.
Are you going to be gambling tonight?
Yeah, probably gambling, drinking.
What's the game of choice?
Slot machines.
Oh, yeah, he's just
Jeez, the old ladies.
Hardcore.
That means he's not drinking.
Or I
He's-
might try war. I understand that.
yeah, the war. He's going with the simple games.
Yeah.
He's gonna. I have a feeling you might, a little tree and a little slot machines, and you're gonna be good to go tonight.
That'll work totally.
A little tree?
A little tree.
What is that what I think it is?
Some code word.
Little Mary Jane?
A little Mary Jane for Mr.
No,
Abrams.
no.
No, don't smoke that.
Of course not.
Only under the clinical supervision of a doctor.
There you go. All right, it's Lee Abrams. He's
Lee, thank you.
He's
Hey, anytime.
he's one
And
of the.
come for a ride. I won't fall asleep.
I don't know.
That's a silly rumor.
Of course
I
it
fall
is.
asleep at real long meetings. Actually, I don't do that anymore. But I did, but never in the
Can
air.
we have a cattle prod or something if we go on a flight with you, just in case you do fall asleep?
Wake
to
him
wake
up?
you up?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, when you come on my plane, you can bring a gun, you can smoke, you can bring a cattle prod. I hope the FAA is not listening.
Yeah, it's very-
I'm kidding.
That's very comforting before a flight.
There's no security.
can only imagine what's going on while he's flying across America, cranking up the Leonard Skinner and the Pink Floyd, and
got a brand new plane now to do it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Congrats.
There he is, Lee.
All right,
everyone. Thank you, Lee.
See ya. Scheduled for departure from his seat. There he goes. I saw the Nuge walking around there.
Yeah, we're going to get to him in a couple minutes. Let's go to the phones real fast. There's a couple people want to say hi. Rob, what's up?
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Pretty good, Rob. What do you got?
How's my favorite marmalade bag doing today?
Hello, Angel. How are you?
Good. How you doing? Yeah.
Good. You have to speak up a little, sir.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just talk a little louder. It's hard to hear you today on the program.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, Opie's talking about playing football in his bedroom while I'm a regular guy here sitting in my room listening to you guys. Freaking working all day in the cold. Yeah, you really help like a person.
We didn't ask for these sweets, sir. They were given to us.
I'm not going to lie to you.
I know.
It's cool as hell, but it's cool, but I feel kind of, I don't know, awkward and guilty, you know?
Yeah,
they keep calling you every 5 minutes, asking if you need anything, and I don't know. It's not my style, but I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not going to give it away and go to some crappy little motor inn.
It really is nice. Although I understand there's a suite in that same place with 2 floors and an elevator, so we should discuss why that wasn't given to anybody.
Oh. Did Ben tell you that?
Yeah.
Because he knows everything?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of him. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope he's got his stylus and he's poking at the computer monitor.
It's really hard to be assertive and hang up with a stylus.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Damn this new technology. One more call, and then we're going to take a break and get to Ted Nugent. It's Fabio on Long Island. What's up, Fabio?
Hey, boys. Great to
Hi.
see you after all these years. Before I get to my question, you guys going to have Rich and Chris Robinson on?
What's that?
You're going to have Rich and Chris Robinson on your show?
I don't know. Why?
Well, they're at CES today.
Yeah, there's a rumor we might get them. I don't know. We've had those guys on our show many times, so we'd love to. We're working on it.
Cool.
All right.
Hey, Schnickums, I have a question for you.
It's not going to work if you're trying to hang up on me, sir. I'm too good, even in Vegas.
No, I have a question.
Okay, what?
I really do.
All right, what?
Did you lay down any plastic last night, or did you leave the mess for the housekeeping?
No, I actually.
Plastic?
No, a little towel under my head, but no need to. There was no need. I didn't spill a drop.
You didn't go that route last night, did you?
You bet I did.
Oh my God.
Of course I did. Old popcorn breath.
You know, with that, why don't we take a break? It's O&A live from Vegas.
Gentlemen, welcome to Las Vegas.
Live from Las Vegas. What a hot voice that is. It's the Opie and Anthony Show.
Taking bets on which member of the show comes home in a body bag.
Dude, what happened? You're going to hate us today. You're going to hate us.
The Opie and Anthony Show.
Got some hookers in my room. It's everything 24/7. XM202. The O&A virus. It's everything all the time.
The Opie and Anthony Show.
Jimmy couldn't stop for 2 hours that we're doing this show to not eat. Is that where he is? He's off eating?
He's either eating or taking a leak. The guy is just a mess. He comes running on stage. He's like, did you guys try these cookies? They're unbelievable.
Yeah, he came running past going, oh, these cookies are unbelievable.
And then I'll have
Oprah, Tony, Happy New Year.
There he is, Ted Nugent. And then later...
Did you guys miss me?
Not at all. Yeah, of course we did. You guys, you give us great radio. But really fast, and I'll have to hear about it later with Jimmy. Like, why am I so fat? I'm a disgusting man, blah, blah, blah.
Because he's eating cookies at every spare moment.
Yeah, he ran right for the cookies as soon as we took a break.
Ted's got the winter look going.
It's like Santa Claus with a clock, man. How you guys doing?
Were you able to get any guns in here or what?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, peace and love's my thing.
That's it.
Peace and love.
Peace and love when you travel?
Yeah, you want a Pez? Oops, wrong one, sorry.
The firearms convention?
No, please. I thought this was the SHOT Show.
The SHOT Show?
Yeah, that's the shooting. It's actually coming up in a couple weeks. I come here every year for that. It's the Shooting, Hunting, Outdoor TED Show. And it's like an absolute tsunami of hardware and sporting goods and weapons of mass protein construction.
Pick up some things.
And you
might
guys,
need.
you know, and I want you to know, I wouldn't get out of the swamp for just anybody. You guys are some lucky radio sons of bitches, because I was just in a swamp yesterday. I just finished the greatest rock and roll rhythm and blues jihad any guitar player could ever dream of. Up there we do a whiplash bash because I like to give myself a big Christmas present every year. We just wrapped that up. But I have to brag on XM Satellite Radio.
Yes.
I am the czar of Sonic Bombast because of my ungodly Funk Brother rhythm section. Mr. Tommy Clefetos and Mr. Barry Sparks are the Funk Brothers Supreme. What those guys do to my music, we just did 5 shows. I've done almost 6,000 shows in my life. These were the greatest 5 shows in my life. I got down on my knees every night and I just went, God, thank you.
Ted, you know what the amazing thing is? I had no idea if he was talking about music or shooting.
I know.
For the first
Is there a
5
difference?
minutes
Is there a difference?
I don't know.
Well, at my concerts, I do shoot. I'm the only guy that does it. You know, we're going to go see Tom Petty?
No.
He doesn't do any shooting at us. Can I drink this, please?
I want to know why we're never invited to any of these.
There is now. See,
Tidbits.
your handlers suck because there is a huge, greasy, open invitation to Oprah and Tony. Anytime you guys
loves call me Oprah.
Anytime you guys want to come and wallow in my Afro Sheen Grease Rhythm and Blues Rock and Roll Fest, you guys, it's official. I have witnesses. You guys are welcome anytime you want to get naked and do the Primal Scream.
Can we
dance
do
with
our
Uncle
show
Ted.
live from your ranch or something?
No.
No.
Actually, you could. It would be. I used to do
Why
that.
not?
I used to do my show from
course.
the barn.
Right.
I used to get out and salute the sun coming up every day and just kind of fortify my spirit and attitude. Yes, you guys would love.
I'd like to go there and
Legion
blow
Ranch.
off a few rounds.
We could blow off many
Please.
rounds every day. We do the ballistic jihad every day. Yes.
That's some fun stuff.
Well, we're back in New York. You got to call the show again and you know, fire off some stuff.
Have
for
you
us.
ever had before he died? Did Jerry Garcia ever do any shooting on your show?
I don't think so.
Well, see, that's the problem.
No.
Which is why he's dead. He didn't look forward to that discipline, that hand-eye coordination, that American dream of bullseye-ness. Bullseye-ness.
Well, you need all 5 fingers to shoot a gun, though, don't you?
Well, to play guitar, too, but he did all right.
No, you did great. I love the Dead.
So you guys are XMing up a storm. I salute you guys. God bless your American radio dream. You are obviously having fun.
We're having a great time. And
this is where you go. This is where you go to voice your opinions.
If you really want to do it unabashed,
unfettered.
I'm like Rosa Parks, but I don't just refuse to give up the seat on the bus. I drive the bus up the ass of the white scum who tried to get me to give it up. You see the difference there?
I can.
You don't just have
see
it
what
like
you're
you don't
talking
just
about,
have
Ted.
a middle finger. You use it.
Absolutely.
Nah.
Ted shakes it up everywhere he goes. We've had our run-ins with some callers. Well, you gotta
love me.
But it's very
gotta
difficult.
love me.
It's very difficult to agree with Ted 100%.
Why?
I gotta say
name
that.
something you disagree with.
Well, no,
You're like Rosa Parks?
I'm just.
You don't like Rosa Parks? Somebody
No,
kick his ass.
he said that you are like Rosa Parks.
I am defiant.
That's something we're disagreeing
There's a
with.
status quo stupidity out there that says you've got to do guitar like this, you've got to stand for this political correctness. The American status quo is like a seat on a bus in Selma, and I ain't getting up. If you have a problem with that, eat me. You don't agree with that. You do agree with that. You're just playing devil's advocate because to take the opposite side, you have to be either dumb, stupid, or the devil.
I was actually
no. Yes.
I was just doing.
Just say yes, Uncle Ted, and leave it.
But I was just doing a little joke on a comedy show. Sorry.
And it really went over good too. I'll do the humor here if you don't mind.
I didn't mean to
I'm the only
interject
guy
there.
here who gargled with Afro Sheen, so you have to follow my cues.
You're out there.
Anthony, he asked you one thing you don't agree with.
What don't you agree with?
Something I was saying, people in general. Tell you the
Yes,
truth, I think
indeed.
I agree 100% with
Well,
with
because
Ted.
the truth
But-
is just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
But the majority of people kind of find some fault
not the
in,
majority. A lunatic fringe.
You think it's a lunatic
You have
fringe?
to be like a sportsman for Kerry to not agree with me. Which, by the way, now that Bush got elected, the sportsman for Kerry can go back to their original job as Jews for Hitler. You've got to be retarded to be against the things that I stand for.
Now,
you
are
find
you-
the things that I stand for in the United States Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, self-evident truth. It's so simple. See, I'm just such a simple guy. I'm so simple it's stupid. I want wood products. I plant trees. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I want meat. I kill stuff. You got a problem with that?
Not at all.
Well, then
What do you
drive
do if you want to
safely.
get laid?
I leave this radio show and go hang out with heterosexual people. Why do you ask?
Oh, Ted.
He just called us fags.
No, he called you a fag.
No, he said us. You're people too, stupid.
No. I think that was pointed at
If I'm a homo, you're homos.
You see, somebody's got their radar working this morning.
I like
no,
that.
I took my lessons from James Brown, which is why I drive across state lines on the rims of my pickup truck. So you'll have to catch up with my humor here. I'm from Detroit. You see, Detroit wasn't the murder capital because we're more violent. We're just better damn shots, okay? Write that down.
Nice.
Okay,
Very nice.
then.
Now, Ted, what would you say to people that talk about the gun control issue? What type of where would you draw the line for guns that people should be able to own? Now, you know that the assault weapon ban has been taken back.
Yeah, because that worked so good. The ban really saved a lot of lives, didn't it?
I agree that was ridiculous. But where should the line be drawn when people say, should people be allowed to own a howitzer?
Well, first of all, the right to keep and bear arms doesn't include a howitzer because
now how does that?
Because
not
the history of the Second Amendment was strictly about self-defense. And I think when you talk about self-evident truth, and as I travel this great country and I hang out with my electronic celebrants out here in a silly little place like Las Vegas, no matter where I go, at the airport last night, at the Starbucks this morning, at the cab stand, all these guys come up and say, hey, Uncle Ted, how you doing? How was your hunting season? They talk about and they initiate the dialogue about the Second Amendment, typically 99% of the time, because everybody with conscience, logic, there's the trick, logic, would tell you that you have the right to defend yourself against evil. Nobody except like Courtney Love argues against that, you know. And if you and I took enough LSD, we would drool on the cue as well. My point is that I represent a self-evident basic truth that God gave me the gift of life. Not only do I have the right to defend it, I have an intellectual and moral and certainly a spiritual obligation to defend that precious gift of life. And if you attempt to compromise it, I will cut you in half. Any questions? And
So,
that
but
means
where
I have
is
the
the
right
limit?
to keep and bear. What do keep and bear means? On my person.
Now
on
that's
my
an
belt.
interpretation.
Well, and it's my interpretation,
but
and it's everybody of sense and common sense and logic and decency that knows that if I encounter evil, I must be prepared to stop it. So let's just draw a common denominator line that I have the right to keep and bear arms that I can hold. There's a good start.
That just sounds like an interpretation.
Well, give me that's mine, and I stand by. I think it's really cool. What's yours?
Taking it
or the devil's
at
advocate.
face value to defend yourself. Shouldn't that include setting up a claymore perimeter around your house?
I'm for that. He's not going to argue that.
But I know he's not going to argue, but the point I'm trying to make
we
is...
do agree 100%, you numbnut. No,
the point I'm trying to make is that would be ridiculous, but where do you then draw that line where all of a sudden it becomes something that has to be regulated, that has to be, not regulated, but has to be legislated to the point where you can't get it anymore?
Well...
And that would be some type of gun control.
Fully automatic weapons have been completely controlled as much as anything could possibly be controlled since 1934.
Do you think people should be able to own those?
Well, not only do I think, but we do. There are over 2.5 million legally owned machine guns, which I created a brass rainbow last week. You'd get naked and get on your knees in front of me, bowing to the presence of the mighty brass rainbow. I shoot with citizens, SWAT, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, whether it was in the deserts of Iraq this summer or in the wilds of Texas or Michigan or Indiana. I shoot machine guns literally on I'd say a monthly basis.
Now, how do you legally do this?
Well, back in 1934, Al Capone, this is a little before Mayor Daley, even though they're almost exactly alike, when Al Capone didn't breed the original, what is her name, Janet Reno, and they gave birth to Mayor Daley. Machine guns were regulated because Al Capone, if you study but a modicum of the documented history, you'll see that it was indeed the mob who regulated citizen ownership of machine guns because the citizens were stopping too many mob attacks and assaults and control with equal firepower. So it goes back to a corruption that was completely out of control and remains out of control today in many instances, particularly in Chicago, where no citizen is allowed to own any gun at all, which is bizarre. It's bizarre to go, no, you people will be defenseless. I have given my decree. My name is Mr. Daley. Eat me.
How is that legal?
But it's unbelievable. You're Washington, D.C. And how's this? In America, the two most dangerous firearms violence epicenters are Washington, D.C. and Chicago, which are the only two places where you're not allowed to own anything, including a BB gun. In Illinois, you have to have a government-issued ID card to buy BBs. Do you feel safer yet? Anybody? So the whole thing is so mentally deficient. It is so anti-logic. In Texas, with all my buddies, all these almost 3 million machine guns that we own. I don't own any because I don't have a Class 3 license. But my buddies who are just bakers and welders and ranchers and cops and computer nuts and CEOs of hardware stores.
Presidents of the United States.
And we own machine guns, and how many crimes have been committed with them? None! Why would we want to stop something that isn't a problem? The point being, in those areas where you're not allowed to have any firepower, you can buy C4 explosives. Here's a message for Bono. For Mr. Was that his name, Bono of U2?
I think it's Bono.
Bono wants to ban guns to make it safer. I wonder if he's ever heard of the place called Dublin, Ireland, where guns have always been banned and you're not allowed to have C4 or surface-to-air missiles, which, by the way, you can buy in Dublin. Bono, hello, numbnut. See, but my point is, why don't we ban pterodactyls? Because I hear they're scary, huge, can fly into the playground and snatch children out with claws on their wings. Ooh, Diane McCarthy of New York, let's ban pterodactyls. They really scare me. Eat me, you retarded mongrel. I've got gun control. I can put two 10-millimeter Corbon rounds in the same hole at 25 yards in 1 second. That's gun control. If you have any questions, call 1-800-NUMBNUT, and Michael Jackson will try to interpret what Jesse Jackson and Al Not So Sharpton are trying to decipher from a drunken rage from Ted Kennedy.
Half these people want to kill you, and half these people agree with you.
And none of them have the balls who disagree. None of them have the intellectual fortitude to approach me and argue with me.
Grab the microphone.
They haven't. They got nothing. And if you want to argue with me, let's dance, because I'll make you look dumber than Michael Jackson's chimp.
Is there anyone that disagrees with Ted and wants to take him to task?
Come on.
Anyone brave enough to step up to the microphone?
You spineless wimps.
Anyone, step up to the microphone.
These are my buddies. These are my buddies. These people get it. These people know that they have a life that's sacred. They work really hard, and they have the right to defend that life. If you don't understand that, you're like an Ozzy. An Ozzy thing is going on, where all you can do is drool and stumble.
Anybody want to step up to the microphone? No one.
They got nothing.
One
They
guy.
got nothing.
All right, one guy.
Well, he wants to have fun, but
it's George. George.
Hey, George.
You think they should ban sale of cop killer bullets and machine gun conversion kits then?
What in God's name is a cop killer bullet? What is that?
Something that can go through a Teflon bulletproof vest.
Do you have an example of that? Guess what? 99%.
Oh, don't
here's
beat
the
him up,
statistic.
Ted. Jesus, it's just a question.
99%. But you got to do your
Just made a
homework.
threatening move there.
The information is universally available. Ted Kennedy attempted to ban cop killer bullets. And these are rounds that can defeat a Class 3 ballistic vest. Unfortunately, that would include 99%, not my figure. This is a figure from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the FBI Uniform Crime Study, in collaboration with the UN Small Arms Control Program and the Scotland Yard, just recently in 2001. And it would include 99% of bullets manufactured in the world today, because most of those vests won't stop any rifle round whatsoever, including your average squirrel bullet, your average turkey bullet, your average deer bullet. And guess how many cops have been killed with those bullets? None.
Are they talking for
bullet.
rifle though, or are they talking handgun?
Well, he's going
bullets.
back. He's going back to Sarah Brady's miscarriage back in the 80s with the KTW Teflon-coated bullets, which at the time had never ever killed a cop. They were only available to cops. But since they were made public, guess how many cops have been killed with a KTW? The original cop killer Ted
You don't
Kennedy.
cut anyone slack, even like Brady or McCarthy, just based on circumstance.
if
Perhaps
they
they're a little
ha- if-
upset that
if
their
they
loved
have-
one was gunned down.
If their loved one was gunned down, I probably helped by making sure that laws are on the books stopping the epidemic of recidivism, because 99% of loved ones killed in America are killed by some moron who the system let back out to kill again. It doesn't matter whether you did it with a pipe, brass knuckles, or a Buick. We shouldn't let monsters out of their cages. Everybody agrees with that unless you're retarded.
A lot of nods out there.
So the KTW bullet has been made available. And here's a statistic to chew on for a second. The most deadly shooting in America was the Washington, D.C. sniper. How many rounds per victim? 1. The most rounds ever fired in the commission of a violent crime in the United States was the North Hollywood bank robbery. 6,000 rounds fired. How many were killed in the North Hollywood 6,000 rounds? Nobody except the bad guys. So if you really wanted to study the issues, would you ban single-shot weapons because 11 out of 11 were killed? Or would you ban machine guns because 0 good guys were killed out of 6,000 rounds? I'm telling you, it's a scramble to feel good instead of do good.
I think a lot of people also say, though, if it was made more available to the general public,
they are available. Join the NRA. All you have to do is join the NRA. And the statistics come from the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and all these agencies in the global community, which suck, by the way. If you're a global community member, eat me. The UN tried to find information to ban private ownership of guns. And then when they finished their study, they tried to hide it because the study concluded that in Rwanda and the Sudan, where no one's allowed to own guns, all the citizens are dead because they couldn't defend themselves. I'm in shock.
He's turning into the devil in front of
us. Meanwhile, in Cody, Wyoming, how many carjackings have happened this week? None. Drive safely.
All right.
The whole point is
Ted,
more guns
equals
less crime.
We get it.
And that's where my rock and roll
We
comes.
have to
I
go.
thought you were saying white neighborhoods are safer.
Okay.
That I agree with.
We have to go to the phones because, you get everyone riled up. Let's say hi to Dave in Pennsylvania.
Hello, David. God bless the Keystone State.
Go ahead, Dave.
The problem with your entire argument is that the Founding Fathers never meant for any of that to be absolute. There are no absolutes in the Constitution or any of that. No absolutes.
And what's this guy's name? Excuse me 1 second. Mike? Dave? Dave, can I ask you, in your life, do you have children and family there in Pennsylvania?
I don't have any kids, no.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Obviously, you've got enough money to have a phone and a radio, so you must be a hard-working guy. So I already salute you for that. Do you think it is an absolute? I am convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is an absolute, conclusive truth that I, as an individual, have the right to defend myself right now. Do you agree with that absolute?
Yes.
Case closed. Drive safely.
Before was you have the right, if you encounter evil, that you have the right to cut them in half. You don't. You don't have that right.
Yes, I do. Yes,
no,
I do.
No, you don't.
Of course I do.
Define evil. Define evil. Define evil.
Evil is something that would compromise my well-being, possibly my life, or that of an innocent.
He's talking about, if your
Is it-
life is being threatened, you
is
have
this-
an absolute right to defend
But that is-
yourself, and if
right,
that means
that's
killing
fine.
that.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
There's your
That's
absolute.
fine.
There's an. So already
It's
we
not
got two
absolute
absolutes
because
going.
What you may see as a threat may not be a threat at all. It may be in your mind.
not true.
and
Not
it's
true.
Not a rational threat.
What Ted Nugent decides is a threat, I assure you, is a threat.
And if it's not, it'll be dealt with in court anyway.
Well, how about
Not only
this?
that, but if it's not a threat, and not only that, but Dave, will you be there to advise me?
He's out.
Yeah, you're telling me he's out. He's retarded.
Should you be able to use lethal force if your friend hooks you up with a girl and she's over 200 pounds?
I think that is lethal force.
Because that is evil.
I think tit for tat.
Hey, we got to go to Rev in New Jersey. Another one. Go ahead,
What's
Rev.
up, guys?
Hey, Rev.
Nuge, what's up, man?
I'm rocking,
I just
Rev.
want to ask you a question. You realize last time you were on the O&A show, you said the exact same speech about Bono. You're turning into a politician here with your stories. How long does it take you to study this stuff before you come out and say it?
I study nonstop every day. My life is a sponge.
You know
My
who
life is
you know who you
is
are?
information.
Take away your record career, you're Bernie Getz. Punch out, Maverick.
Pretty much. That's brain dead. Bernie Getz. I actually dedicated my Free For All album to Bernie Getz.
We love Bernie
and
Getz.
When Bernie Getz used the wrong ammo, I sent him a box of proper ammo. I literally, when Bernie Getz only wounded those guys, I sent him a box of good ammo.
Dude, he's a regular on our show now.
Yeah, we
He
love
comes
him.
in all the time.
Well, you know what's funny
He is-
about Bernie?
he is nuts.
He is nuts. He thinks
Yeah.
animals have rights, which
Yeah.
is
Dude,
bizarre.
he would
'Cause
tell-
I saw a guy eating burgers over here.
He was telling us
Yeah.
that his squirrel talks to him.
Of course he does. Well, you know.
What
you
was
know,
the word
God,
the squirrel learned?
God knows
Stop.
what might have happened to old Bernie in prison. And once you get enough of that, I think the logic may go the way of the talking squirrel.
Yeah.
Just my thought. And not only that, but you know what? This guy that called in, let's examine how he criticized me talking about the same statement. Well, guess what? When I was a little boy, 1 and 1 equaled 2. Now that I'm 56, 1 and 1 equals 2. And if you and I are going to talk about the greasy rhythm and blues inspiration of my funk brother childhood, you know what? I would probably be redundant in articulating that as well. Because when a specific subject comes up, I think you need to put forth all the information and knowledge that you have. And I think the Bono example, when he went to relieve the third world debt, which was only relieving the tyrants and the slave drivers' debt, was so misguided and so counterproductive to bring upgrade and quality of life opportunities to those people that he claimed to be thinking about. I need to use these poignant examples anytime we talk about a given subject. And here I am with Oprah and Tony, and I think your radio show deserves the truth.
Hey, any thoughts on the tsunami in general?
Well, I'm sure I represent you and thinking people that it's horrific, it's tragic. We pray, we've sent much money, we've been involved with many charities. The Nugent family truly cares about those who are victims of problems they didn't ask for. But I think equal to the importance of sending relief and donations and making sure that we monitor our donations actually get to the victims and not some CEO of the United Way. Ooh, I said a name. Yes, that's right, the CEO of the United Way. Give up your salary, chump, and buy him some blankets. Anyhow, we also need to make sure...
How much does he make?
I think $380,000.
$380,000 a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the number I heard.
Wow.
That's too
change,
much.
sure.
I have a Ted Nugent Camp for Kids, and I get nothing. I accept nothing. I would never allow anything to go into my pockets. It's a charity! Jesus! So anyhow, I think another thing that I represent here, and this may be redundant, but I think it needs repeating, it's worth repeating. We the people who know that, how about in the environment on XM Satellite Radio with Opie and Anthony at the Consumer Electronics Show, how about us electronic industry people hammer to get those early warning systems that have been in existence for years, that I believe were in action prior to the tsunami striking, but the information that it was almost like a Jaws scenario where the powers that be in these corrupt, hell-bent nations didn't give the warning that they had because they didn't want to interrupt tourism.
Those beaches will stay open on the 4th of July.
I think that we need to examine that. And in an electronic industry, what we should do is go, damn it, if you've got that kind of technology available, that's what we should donate to those countries, and that's what we should make sure is maintained.
I agree with you, but you know something? Screw it. I say screw it. We're already criticized for butting in and putting our noses in everyone else's business around the world. And you know something? If this happens, fine. People want to be charitable, send their money. That's fine. But as far as us doing anything more about setting up these things to help out and alert these people to get their corruption in their government straightened out so that these warnings get to people, so the money gets to people instead of in these pockets, for us to deal with that, another episode of us being the world police, and screw it.
And I concur with that reaction. But let me put it in perspective. At our organization, we're about activism. Our Ted Nugent United Sportsmen of America, our Camp for Kids charity, it's all about inspiring citizens of America to get involved at the school, the church, the local level, to be whistleblowers, to monitor conditions. I think if you take that to a real global awareness, that what we have to do is make sure that we hammer our elected officials to make sure that their donations and our efforts are used efficiently, and at the same time adhere to a guiding force in my life that goes like this. There's a great poem, I won't give you the whole 20-some lines, but it's called Anyway. And I think this goes by America always being the most generous and always being the most expeditious assistant to all needy causes and peoples in the world.
It doesn't start, there once was a man from Nantucket.
No, it could.
Oh, okay.
But this one goes, sometimes you give the world the best you got and you get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you got anyway. So with all the criticism...
Isn't that a damn Yankees song?
That it sure should be. It should be a new one, along with our other love song. But I mean that. Sometimes you give the world the best you got, and you get kicked in the teeth.
Yep.
Give the world the best you got.
So why don't you run for office? A lot of people, I'm sure, have asked you that over the years.
We've got a hysterical file at home. I mean, my wife, Shemaine, and I...
you got Arnold Schwarzenegger is now the governor of California. I think you could do a better job than Arnie.
I am absolutely convinced that I could win the governorship of Michigan.
Really?
Because I've got just an amazing truckload of support from major players. a type of email attack on a positive.
No skeletons that would pop out of your closet, would you?
I got plenty of skeletons. I'd have fun with them. What am I going to do? Admit that I had a lot of girlfriends? Oh, yeah. Shame on me. No, I don't have any skeletons that I'm afraid to admit to.
Yeah.
Some of them are painful, and I've made terrible mistakes as a human being. I'm a perfect human being, by the way. I'm fallible.
Can you give us one of your skeletons?
Please?
An exclusive? Just one good
Live
one?
vicariously through Ted skeletons.
I'm going to let you guys do your homework.
Well, we
because
tried.
Even my skeletons
We
are
brought
just
the Courtney
funny.
Love thing, and you said
but
no.
that was funny.
So,
But that was
all right,
funny.
but give us one that.
And if I did, I mean, I would admit, I go, yeah.
How about one embarrassing story from Ted Nugent? Something that happened to you on tour.
Like I'll give you one of my skeletons. I once picked up a girl who I thought was a girl, and I realized halfway that she wasn't a girl.
How did we realize that?
Her back was a little larger than it should have been. She was a fine defensive end for the Giants.
God help us all. That's never happened to me. No, I can't even really think of any. I mean, I used to go to the MC5's house and the Up and the Stooges back in Detroit, and they would all be just drooling and puking and stumbling and moaning. And it was like pre-Ozzy pathetic conditions. And I would grab their joints and the hashish, and I would blow on them and make the front end light up, and they would get all upset and be very angry. But I don't think that's a skeleton. I thought I was.
You weren't doing dope. Wow! Don't let that get out.
I was absolutely a narc when I was a teenager. So no, I don't have anything to be ashamed of.
I think more of his exploits probably backstage with a few of the ladies.
Yes,
taking a few liberties with the young ladies.
I'm a married man. Shemaine owns my soul. Plus, in this electronic thing, I don't know if you know this, but I have a sponsor on my Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show on the Outdoor Channel that has a booth here. It's called the Initech Dog Training Booth, where you have an electronic collar. I happen to have one on my scrotum.
Oh, really?
Right now. Mrs. Nugent, that looks like a video camera. That's actually...
Ted, there's 5 women here.
That's
I think she's going to be okay.
That's actually the cattle prod to my nuts.
Yeah. Press the button. And
so we're trying to ignore my past discretions.
Do you like Vegas?
I love Vegas, especially when we leave and I wave goodbye.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't seem like your cup of tea.
I come to Vegas every couple of years to go up to Elko, Nevada, to go lion hunting. I have a sunrise safaris where I guide hunters all around the country. And there's so many mountain lions in Nevada, it's just unbelievable. I guess campers and picnickers are getting gobbled up as we speak. So we go up to Elko and I kill mountain lions, so I come through Las Vegas just to wave to the idiots.
That's something I bet isn't very popular with certain people. Hunting mountain lions. They probably get
retards just can't stand it.
What I don't get that they're endangered or something.
Yeah, well, they're endangered if they're within 50 yards of my ass. I'll tell you.
Speaking of the mountain lions, this is something I've never got. You get the story in the paper, someone gets attacked by a mountain lion. Okay, sometimes they get killed, what have you, and then they have to search for the mountain lion.
Or they have to try to capture it.
No, they rarely capture it. It's always they have to kill it.
They tried to capture it. Remember the one out in San Diego? They failed to capture it, so they had to use lethal force. Wait, you remember old Yeller? When he brought me the slippers, we gave him a biscuit. When he foamed at the mouth, we shot him in the head. What's plan B? You know, there are so many damn mountains. You know what California spent? I get so impassioned about this. Do you know since they banned mountain lion hunting in California, there have been 3 people killed, hundreds terribly injured, tens of millions of dollars of livestock destroyed by mountain lions, and the taxpayers of California pay professional hunters, which happen to be my buddies, to track down and kill these mountain lions at a higher rate than ever in the history of sport hunting. So more lions are being killed, but now it's costing taxpayers instead of bringing millions of dollars into the state. It's like Planet of the Apes. It's like one flew over the retard nest.
Why don't they just open up a lion season?
Because Sally Fields has a problem with it. No, what's the Barbara Streisand is trying to get you to line dry your clothes while she does save the environment seminars in her Learjet.
Barbara Streisand,
Planet of the Apes.
She's actually very in touch with most people's needs.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm thinking with the
you are an ass.
With they ban the mountain lions, as long as she can go to her hot tub while tax dollars go out to shoot the lion after it kills a hiker. It's so bizarre. That's why I know I'm right. I see the evidence every day. They're wrong. I'm right. There's no plan B.
But do you plan on wavering in your support of Michael Moore?
No, not a bit. In fact, to show that I'm an inclusive guy, I've written a script. I've been trying to get it to Mike. I've actually got a package. I've got a script called Bowling for Hygiene and a washcloth, but I can't get past his people. Yeah, Michael
Very
Moore.
funny.
There's the kind of guy I want supporting me. You know, here's a guy who can't manage his torso, and he wants to tell us about the war on terror. Michael Moore is an absolute ape.
You don't think there were a few good points in this movie about the relationship between Bush and the Saudi family?
Not a single one.
No.
Let's put it this way. You know what's bizarre? I'm going to say this. I salute the Michael Moores mostly so that when you say, well, Ted stands for this and who stands against him? The fat guy. I mean, if I'm going to have a counterpoint, I couldn't have hired the greatest Hollywood stuntmen to create my nemesis better than a slouch like Michael drooling. I can't find the soap more. I mean, this guy is literally retarded.
But now you're a guy very well educated. You don't take
I
anything
never went
at face
to school.
value.
I was too busy
You're
going.
like, well, self-educated. You don't take things at face value. You like to research things. How come something like his film he made about Bush and the Saudi royal family doesn't kind of spark your interest to maybe look into that a little deeper and say, why did these things happen?
Well, first of all, because I had looked into it deeper before his propaganda lies came out. Now, and let's put it right here on the Opie and Anthony Show on XM Satellite Radio. I, Ted Nugent, stand in support of activists who are against everything I stand for.
Mm-hmm.
So I salute the Michael Moores for being involved. I salute the Bonos for being involved. But these guys are such dope-smoking idiots that they are so misguided. And I know you're not allowed to make allegations of someone using narcotics, but they're dope-smoking idiots. And if you and I smoke that much dope, we think that the people of Sri Lanka would get more rice if we went and relieved the tyrant's debt. And we think we would paste together speeches of a great American hero like Charlton Heston, and we would claim a date that was 2 years prior to the actual speech and call it a documentary. That's where I have a problem. So I encourage, salute activism, but do your goddamn homework. Be honest. Quit pasting lies together. If you've got a point to make it honest.
Wow.
He's not an activist though.
Anybody?
It's selective editing.
You're FC. I gave him too much credit. He's not an activist. He's a Hollywood wannabe, hippie emeritus that literally flushes more brain cells down the toilet than the average human being will ever accumulate in life. These people celebrate indecency and dishonesty. Michael Moore not only is fat and unclean, and that's just a personal observation, he's unprofessional, he's dishonest, he's deceitful, he's spiritless, and he is soulless. Case closed.
But one thing though, at least he's not agenda-driven.
At least he's not. I'll give him that. At least he's not agenda-driven. You know, the guy could be the. You know, I got to tell you a little Michael Moore story. I did his TV Nation show.
Right.
He sent out. He admitted at the Detroit airport to me while shaking my hand. He admitted that they had a special meeting. He would deny this today, but he said it to me at gate C12. I'm going to guess in the early 90s after he lost his TV Nation show and gave me credit for losing it. He shook my hand and he said, Ted, we wanted to get you. We strategized, had a special meeting. We got our wittiest, most clever, well-researched interviewers, the cockiest guys we could get, and we sent them to your farm to literally get you on the gun issue and the hunting issue. And he shook my hand and he said, quote, we did everything we could in the editing room to win. You killed us.
Why would he fess up to this?
Maybe there's a spark of Michigan soul there. Maybe he really did listen to Motown music, and in between the hippie dope fests, maybe that spark of honesty still simmers somewhere.
No, he was embarrassed that you kicked his ass, and this was his way of saying, like, putting himself on equal footing and going, well, two men of equal merit jousted, and one has bested the other.
At least I was rose to the guy, took the high road, and I admitted to it. I think what happened is that I'm an intimidating person, and especially at the Detroit airport at gate C12. And when he saw me, he knew I wasn't going to go away. He knew I was going to come right over to him and go, well, how'd you do, fatso? And so he approached me and he goes, Ted, before you say anything, it was a great night. I shook his hand in sincerity and I said, Michael, you know you're wrong. You know that hunting isn't a choice. It's essential. You must maintain balance. Renewable resources haven't got any more land to have that renewable population live on. You know what I'm doing is absolutely proper.
People that don't buy that whole thing are they're
retarded.
A minority.
They're
too.
retarded.
There aren't many people that don't understand that if it isn't
well, in
cold,
2005,
in some way.
In 2005, you don't understand that every year more deer are born, but there's no more new ground for them. In 2005, someone can claim ignorance to that. That's bizarre. That's just somebody's going. Well, you know, the experiment with drugs. I think there's still room for trial there. I mean, you got to be Ozzy.
What do you think about Iraq, the situation we're in now?
Well,
the election's coming up at the end of the month. It doesn't look like security is any more secure than it's been since we got there.
It's ugly. It's ugly. It's ugly. But all good. Why we are here today? Why these successful business blood brothers of the American dream are gazing upon Opie and Andy and Uncle Ted is because we bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and that was very ugly. But when the Japs thought they could take over the world, we had to go, I don't think so.
Some would argue, Ted, that that was a just and it was a war we needed to participate
But my point
in.
is, I was relating that the ugliness in Iraq right now is no uglier than what we had to do to the Nazis, what we had to do to the Japs. We had to stop evil, and the stopping takes war, which is ugly, takes many, many innocent lives. And I'm sure that I'm not saying anything new or shocking to anyone here today on the radio or here in Las Vegas. But when I shared a C-130 a dozen times with Toby Keith in Kosovo, in Baghdad, in Tikrit, in Taji, in Fallujah, when we sat there on a C-130 with flag-draped coffins every other day, I don't need anybody to tell me how ugly it is. When I held Private Todd Balding's hand, I take that back. It's a euphemism. He had no hands. I was touching his bed. Tears streaming down my face. Private Todd Balding was a young black warrior, 20 years old, from Austin, Texas. I hope I'm accurate. I know it was in Texas. He was on a bed at the rushed in, I wish I could accurately make the German name of the hospital in Germany. But Toby and I went into his room, and all there was a terrifying, traumatically bloated torso of a warrior with tubes and gauze bloodier than any gut pile I've ever handled, bleeding all over the bed. He was hit dead center by a rocket-propelled grenade. And he died right there. But it's not for nothing. The people, the innocent people who were used as recreational prey by Punte and Kunte and Saddam, and these monsters who got so demonic because they could, because no one ever stopped them, were now out of the neighborhood because Todd Balding got blown to smithereens. And I was shown that with Iraq men and women who held my hands, tears streaming down their face and going, God bless America. God bless America. Now we are not afraid. Thank you.
Where are those people, though? This is what my problem is.
Dan Rather turns the camera off when he goes by.
This is where I disagree, because I was over there, too, and I was for Bush removing Saddam, but the Iraqi people, where was their rebellion? The way they're killing American soldiers over there, and looking at us like we're occupiers. Where was al-Sadr after Saddam Hussein murdered his father?
James?
Where was his anger at Saddam Hussein's regime? They come over because they know American soldiers are more compassionate, and they use that against the military. So I'm not all for freeing them. I get sick and tired of seeing our soldiers killed for people that hate us.
There you go.
That's what bothers me, is the reaction of
Agreed.
the Iraqi people.
Except that, I don't know, I'm just a guitar player, folks, so bear with me as I attempt to accurately articulate a response to that, but believe me, I got one. These peoples have never been free in their lives. They've never known what being the best that you can be. They're not allowed to even think, I need to go from home to go get wood today, because they're not allowed to have gas, not allowed to have oil. They got to scrounge for chickens. These people have never, ever had a sense of open freedom. So they are scared to death that they can't manage it. This is how I read it. When we, as a white race, showed our democracy and put Native Americans in concentration camps, I think they call them, what do they call them? Put them on reservations. In the Native American community, there is more suicide, more substance abuse, more gang rape and gang murder in that red community than in any other community in America, because they never got past the control factor. There was no Rosa Parks there. There was no Martin Luther King there. There was no defiant, I'm going to put my life on the line and go to Concord Bridge and maybe shoot a few British, but I might get killed myself. These people, James, they can't even comprehend what they're going to do once that we get rid of the evil. They're scared to death. They can't go and get the pipeline and get the fruition of their own labor.
I think you're letting them off the hook.
It's going to be a long, I don't think so. I met the people. I saw the evil in their eyes of uncertainty, and that is...
I think helping people to find freedom in a country should come. We should only help after they initiate something, some revolution, it shouldn't be us going over there and going, you should be free, let's free you. If they're struggling, if there's some struggle that they want freedom, then by all means, if they ask for help, we should help.
All right,
but these are people that didn't have freedom. You're right, they didn't know about freedom.
They don't know what
and
it
you know
is.
something? It's not something that's just handed out around the world. Sometimes
you gotta
people
fight for
will
it.
be conquered, and they need to fight for it. We did it as a country many years ago.
And France helped us.
And we were helped after that. Right, after we initiated and said, hey, we need our own freedom.
At what point do you conclude that as your neighbor is being attacked and murdered and raped, at what point do you go, I ain't getting involved?
Well, at what point do you? Because then where do we draw the line for the country we don't help?
If I were in charge, Rwanda would have never happened. We would have gone there post-haste. If I was in charge, Somalia would have never happened.
I think that's crazy, too. I think that's more people that just don't understand.
And they don't, but at some point...
freedom enough to want to die for it.
Why are we helping people that hate us? Where's the credit? This is what bothers me about Islam and the Muslims. Where's their credit for the fact that we helped with Slobodan Milosevic, who I believe was ethnically cleansing them? Where's the love from Islam for the United States for that? All we get is that we're occupiers in Iraq, and it makes me sick.
If we could put a cantina wire fence around that isolated nation and those people so that they would just be stupid amongst themselves, I would be all for hands off. Unfortunately, they train people that commandeer our airplanes and are going to poison our food and water supplies, and in a global community, they are coming here, they are here, and at some point we got to go, holy shit, we got to intervene. We got to go back to the source of where they're training these bastards, and we got to blow the living snot out of them, because it's not an isolated event. That's the difference between letting them be idiots amongst themselves and us going, holy God, the idiots are training hateful idiots, and they're coming over here. Let's go kill them.
How about cutting ties with Saudi Arabia, which would end the funding?
Boy, would I love that.
Listen, we got.
If I were in charge,
hold on, we got to stop. I mean,
I'd
we
like
could
to
go
keep
on.
going,
We
but-
could go on for an hour with Ted, but
an hour.
At least another hour.
Months.
We have only 15 minutes left in the show, and we got to get Kevin Kennedy on the air.
Good old Kevin.
Want to thank Ted for stopping by. We got you a MiFi.
I'll take it. What is it?
Because we know you like our show and we want you to listen to it.
My
So
son will set this up
It's
for
a
me.
portable XM satellite radio.
I can't even tune my damn guitar.
All right. You guys, let's hear it for Ted Nugent.
Thanks, Ted.
God bless y'all.
A
God
quick
bless
break
the
and we'll be
American
back.
dream.
It's the Opie and Anthony program live from Las Vegas.
Godspeed.
It's the Opie and Anthony Show. Live from Las Vegas.
Watching a bunch of retards trying to hump a doorknob out.
Yeah, that's what we do. Because we're perverts.
That's right.
Stupid.
The Opie and Anthony Show.
XM 202.
The Opie and Anthony Show.
We're checking out the Opie and Anthony program, the O&A virus spreading across America thanks to XM Satellite Radio. Having a lot of fun at CES here in Vegas, Anthony.
Yeah.
Ted Nugent was unbelievable, obviously.
Always fun talking with Ted.
Very opinionated, believes what he says.
Why would you say
Backs
something
it-
like that?
Backs it up with facts.
Yeah.
And he uses very big words, too, I noticed.
Did he trip you up a couple of times?
Oh, a couple times. But that's all right. We got Kevin Kennedy stopping by to say hi.
Kevin.
Absolutely. And, of course, XM signed the big deal with Major League Baseball, and Kevin Kennedy's going to be doing a lot of the coverage.
Yeah, it's my passion. You know, I've when I got done managing the Red Sox, not by my choice, by the way. as
Biggest
people
Red
know.
Sox fan right there,
my
Ben.
God.
You know, all of a sudden, I'm an 8-year broadcaster, so radio's a blast. You know, I've been doing radio for the last few years, and it's fun. So for XM to have this deal with Major League Baseball, it's my passion. It's what I do.
So what do you think about the Sox finally winning it?
I think it was time, and believe it or not, I picked them in March. I know people won't believe
You
this.
did?
I had the Cubs and the Red Sox going to the World Series. Of course, I wanted the ratings up on Fox, but
That would have done it, yeah. Cubs and Sox.
But when they were down 3-0 to the Yankees, I got to say it didn't look too good.
No,
it didn't look good at all.
You know, as a Yankee fan, it didn't look good, but there was some
There was
little
something.
problem
Yep.
that I had. Didn't you have some feeling like these bastards are going to screw this
It's called
up?
David Ortiz. Nobody hurts the Yankees more
well,
than
you
David
know,
Ortiz.
the Yankees didn't have a left-handed bullpen guy that really can get a lefty out. Heredia, they had no confidence in, and they didn't have a left-handed starter. Well, now they do.
Oh, the pitching just
You
let
know
them
what,
down.
though? You can say what they didn't have and what, but when you drop four
You're
in a
right.
row like that,
You know, I felt when they won Game 5 and sent it back to New York, I thought Boston was going to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
the momentum had switched there. Yeah,
Norton's not
totally.
a fan of the Randy Johnson deal.
You know
I
what?
don't, absolutely. I don't mind. He's a great pitcher, but if he was 34, I'm sick and tired of Steinbrenner mortgaging the farm for guys that are going to be eligible for Social Security in 3 years. How about we keep the young talent like Gene Michael did when George was out of baseball for a few years? We got Bernie Williams. They would have traded Mariano Rivera for Andy Hawkins if Steinbrenner had his way. I want
Andy Hawkins.
young players.
I sent Andy to the big leagues when I was in AAA. Hit a
Well,
home
you
run
got
off
him
him, they
kind of
sent him
late.
up, and I stayed in AAA.
I want younger.
But you know what? At least they've got Wright. I like Pavano, though. I like Pavano.
Yeah,
He's on the upswing.
I don't like Jarrett Wright. In '97, he was devastating on the Yankees.
Well, Jared worries you.
Yeah. If we had a 3-0 lead in the first inning and
Yeah,
we
he
blew it
worries
like
you.
awful Jarrett Wright, yeah, but I don't want him anymore.
I think Steinbrenner makes a lot of choices based on not totally what's going to go on in the field, but how it's going to put asses in the seats at
And
the
jersey
stadium.
sales.
He likes, and jersey sales, right. He kind of
You
likes
know,
making money.
I was fortunate enough to manage Nolan Ryan, and I was his
Wow.
last manager. He was 46 years old. He was still throwing 96 miles an hour. So, and I had Roger Clemens, of course, in Boston, and of course, somebody said he's in the twilight of his career. One of those GMs that I knew in the
Unbelievable.
past. And,
Yeah,
you know, what, 4 Cy Young Awards later. So I don't have a problem getting Randy Johnson because the guy works out. He's a lot like Clemens as far as his workout regimen, and he wants to be the best. So I think he's going to give the Yankees a couple of strong years. And this guy would have won 22, 23 games if he wasn't with the worst team in baseball last year.
But he hurt us so much. There's a part of me that it's just after the Seattle devastations and then after Arizona, it's like Clemens was different. Clemens didn't destroy the Yankees in the World Series in the playoffs. Clemens didn't make me want to get a warm tub and a razor blade. Randy Johnson has done nothing but hurt me
He's
as a Yankee
taking
fan.
this very personally. You're taking this
This
very
is only business.
Yeah, that's how Yankee fans are. We know that.
I'm a Mets fan. I've been suffering for way too many years.
So you got Pedro.
We got Pedro.
There you go. You got Pedro.
We got Pedro. So we'll see what happens. What do you
Six
think?
innings.
What do you think about the Mets next year with Pedro? And
Well, you know what? I tell you, I like Omar Minaya, the new president or GM of the club that's really running this thing. He worked with me in Texas. He was an assistant at the time, and he's got great baseball savvy. He's got great evaluation skills, and players want to play for him. So I think the Mets are going to be on the upswing, but you know, they're still a ways away from me.
I believe that.
You know, it's nice having Tommy Glavine and Pedro, but both guys, you know, Pedro's not old, but there's no question he's got
the
arm
Mets like to get
problems
these
in
guys
him.
as well when they're past the prime of their careers as well. I remember being a young guy and we signed Willie Mays. I was too stupid to understand.
I remember that.
I was too stupid to understand. He was like 52 at the time. I thought we were getting the Willie Mays when he was playing with the Giants.
Saddest thing was to see him swing the bat and fall down. Right
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, God.
By the
as
way,
a Met fan, of course I remember
Willie
that.
Mays is the greatest player I've ever seen, including Bonds and all of them, going back to the 60s.
Yeah.
Best all-around player I've ever seen.
So what's going on with the steroids in the Major League Baseball?
Well, I think
we were commenting, I think it was last week, we saw
Yeah.
Mike Piazza on the screen doing an interview, and he looks noticeably smaller already.
Now, I don't think any allegations have
we
been
don't know. I mean, we
publicly
don't
come
know.
out
These
against
are-
Mike, but
these
you're
are
starting to
dopey
look at
DJs.
these guys and go, wow,
They're
you know
losing
what
weight.
happened? He lost 30 pounds.
There's no
of
question.
muscle.
There's no question that this the drug testing had to come to be. You know, the agreement that got signed 2 years ago, that was a big part of it. I had to do a story on it with Donald Fear, and you know, it's time. And now that this has come out with this Balco investigation, I think the next agreement. And I know they're supposedly been talking now. They have to make the drug testing more like the NBA and the NFL.
Right.
I mean, it's just there's really no penalties for these guys right now.
No,
and
I think. Do you think it's going to have a big impact on stats?
Well, I don't know how you can go back. And people ask me about Barry Bonds. I don't know how you can go back. The guy was a great player with Pittsburgh. He was a 3-time MVP there. Even though he was a lot thinner, he still hit 35 home runs, stole 45 bases. Steroids don't make you have more bat speed. I mean, to my knowledge, the doctors that I've talked to, I mean, they do make you stronger physically, no question. When you hit a ball, when you do hit a ball, it's going to go further. But Barry Bonds has tremendous eyesight. He reads the ball better than anybody else. He's got tremendous mechanics and a short, compact swing. So you still have to have those ingredients to swing to hit the ball.
Well, obviously, it's not everybody that's going to be on steroids is going to be a star
that's
player.
right.
But I kind of think there's going to be an impact on some of these stats. I don't think you're going to be seeing these.
You know, I can say this because Jose Canseco played for me, and he's a friend of mine to this day. And he told me about a year and a half ago that he actually did it in the late 80s. He never admitted it to me before, but he wanted to tell me all about it. And he not only did he do it, but he was encouraged, and he told me this, I'm just paraphrasing what he said, by certain people in front offices in Major League Baseball that show not only his own teammates how to do it, but how to do other players to do it. So whenever his book comes out, which is supposed to be last September, I guess it's going to be a tell-all. This stuff's already coming out now. I mean, John B., you know, it's sad what happened, talking about the Yankees.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know Jason, he's a good guy. I hope he comes back and he's healthy. But you're right. When I was in spring training last year, there were a lot of guys noticeably small.
Just not quite
in
as
spring
big,
training.
right? Yeah.
I'm actually all for the steroid use. When my pitching staff is giving up 9 runs a game, I need somebody that can smash a 3-run home run in the 8th inning. I hate all this testing.
I think the Yankees are going to score enough runs, especially if they get Beltran.
But offense never seems, I mean, you know that, but offense never seems to win. It's pitching, man. When you don't have relief
No doubt.
pitching, you go down the toilet.
No doubt. And that's what the Yankees didn't have. They didn't have a true ace last year.
That's a
a damn
2-minute warning?
2-minute warning.
2 minutes left in the program?
What a shame.
We're only doing like 2-hour radio shows here.
Yeah, we usually do 4 hours,
It's
but
the easiest thing in the world.
There's nothing for you guys.
such
You know,
a breeze. I will be at a blackjack table in no time.
Absolutely.
Now that we know we could like call this in, we're going to be real
forget
late,
about it.
drinking and
I'm going to show
gambling.
up tomorrow, minute
Yeah,
before the
why
show
not?
starts.
See, I'm
Screw
getting all
it.
hooked up now with the XM, so I'm going to be listening to you guys. You
Cool.
know,
Oh,
in
good.
LA, you drive
Very
4
cool.
hours a day, you know, to
Yeah.
and from.
So what are you going to be doing for XM?
I'll be doing
Obviously the baseball coverage,
one of
but
the main baseball shows.
Are you going to do a
in the
talk
afternoon.
show?
Yeah,
or-
absolutely.
Very
I've
good.
been doing it right now on Fox Radio, a lot of all sports, but this is up my alley, all baseball.
Because you get cursed.
Yeah, I could talk baseball for
And that's
3
true.
hours.
You don't have to watch your language.
Myself if I had to. Yeah,
You don't have to watch your language on
that's
XM.
Right. Well, managers don't curse, you know that.
Oh, of course not. Never.
Is Earl
Seth
Weaver the
Bobon.
greatest ever?
Oh, that Earl Weaver
I
clip.
played for Earl Weaver. Well, Cal was. I was in spring training with the Orioles, and Earl Weaver was even in spring training. He was.
Did you ever hear
wild.
that footage where he's just screaming
Oh,
and
yeah.
cursing? That's the greatest.
Absolutely.
On the post-game show, right? Terry
No, that was
Weaver.
Alice needs to worry about where her next lay is coming from.
That's right. I have that tape. It has all the guys.
The greatest.
You know, we'll play it on our show tomorrow.
Time
Yeah,
of
that's
Lasorda. all
really
those guys.
funny.
We love that
Oh,
little
Lasorda
clip.
was a bit of a potty mouth, too.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Just a little bit.
When you're not taking Slim Fast and shitting your pants at the dugout, I guess you have to start cursing. Jesus.
I want to thank Kevin Kennedy for
You got
stopping
it.
by.
My
Kevin,
pleasure.
thanks, man.
My pleasure. Good talking to you guys.
Can we have you on the show another time?
Anytime, man.
To talk baseball?
I'm wide open.
All right.
I'm
Very
wide
good.
open. I love radio.
So I guess we'll be doing this tomorrow.
That's it. We'll be back tomorrow, live from Las Vegas, Nevada.
I'm sure we'll have a lot of stories.
Yeah, because now we're
about
not going to go
tonight.
to sleep early. Last night it was a travel day, so we really didn't get to go out and tie one
so
on.
guys,
but, yeah, it's Vegas. What are you going to do?
You'd be
Go
walking
in?
out when it's daylight somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? I know.
Get your cock out. Jimmy says, get your cock out. Put my cock in your mouth. Put your face south while we're under the house. Jimmy, crawl under the porch. Yeah, I said it, crawl under the porch. The monster rain's coming, the sky's gray. My pants down, 2 kids helping each other under the damn house. Y'all know the game, monster fucking rain, it ain't a damn thing changed. You're all under the porch, your friend fillets you. Crawl under as 2 digits masturbate you. I alleviate the stress with a cock caress. I exploded my friend's neck with a monster mess. Just 2 little boys, no need for Vagilude. Stuck on a little crotch with a slight lack of pubes. We gotta keep it quiet, make sure mom don't find out. I'll finish you off quick so I can pull mine out. It's just a little pleasure with a lot of shame. Who cares, I gotta blame it all on the monster rain. Get your cock out. Jimmy says, get your cock out. Put my cock in your mouth. Put your face south while we're under the house. Jimmy, crawl under the porch. Yeah, I said it, crawl under the porch. The monster rain's coming, the sky's gray. My pants down, 2 kids helping each other under the damn house. Jimmy Norton, get your cock out. Jimmy Robinson, get your cock out. Billy D'Angelo, get your cock out. Everybody, get your cock out.
I was walking down the street and some construction guy was shouting at me, "Hey, show me your cans." So I did. And he plummeted 17 floors and was impaled on a forklift. But my tits looked great.
Please, wow responsibly. A public service announcement of the Opie and Anthony Show.
It's the O&A virus.